Hello.
Hello. Hey, boobs. How you doing today?
Oops.
That's quite a
Are
top.
they?
I love it. Oh no, it wasn't.
It's
It
a
wasn't a
dress.
bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just like they were the first thing that was like, "Oh, what's up?" I actually
Hello.
had a
Oops.
pretty boobular shirt I was actually gonna wear today because it's really cute. But then I was running around doing stuff for my kiddos, picking up their friends, and then I got home and I didn't even have time to change, and I was like I gotta have this time to do my podcast.
All right. And then I had my notifications off and I didn't even answer for a second.
That's
Sorry.
okay. That's all right.
I like your overalls though. They're very cute.
Thanks. They're like a almost a thin sweatpant material, and I got them from Goodwill,
Nice.
and they're like my uniform right now.
I freaking love that.
Yeah, I
I
gotta
want
love them
some.
too. Yeah, yeah. They give
Like
away the
for real.
best stuff at our Goodwill. Like,
We got nothing at ours. Ours is like, yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good.
the pickings in Utah were always pretty solid. Granted, we were looking for
Yeah.
like ridiculous looking things, and it delivered.
Yes. The
Yeah,
spandex section alone was phenomenal.
yeah.
They don't even have one of those here. Here it's just like
They don't have one of what, a Goodwill
the
or a Savers
well
or a DI?
they have a DI
Okay.
and an Idaho Youth Ranch, but it's not as fun. Maybe it's just because you're not here.
Maybe,
I'm like,
maybe. You just got to be searching for the treasures. They're there.
yeah, yeah, you gotta have somebody who knows what they're looking for. I can't do it by myself, Rach. I can't.
I never know what I'm looking for. It finds me.
Although my daughter has started going to the Goodwill and she'll buy every
Yeah.
shirt that says like dad on it and she'll just like wear them to school.
Very nice.
Like, I'm the best dad of three kids. She's like, what's up?
Which one's that?
Anyway,
Is that
Sarah.
Sarah? Yeah,
Hmm.
I love it.
Yeah,
All right.
me too.
Well,
Me
how
too.
is your week, your past few weeks? We've been real like shit
Good.
about actually doing this, and I
We
miss
have,
it.
we
Yeah.
have, and me too. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, we did
Good.
Mother's Day. I feel like I've got like a rounded head thing going on here. Yeah, did Mother's Day. Mother's Day was great. Um,
Awesome. To
yeah,
address the rounded
and
head, you look perfect. Stop fucking with yourself. You're good. You look beautiful.
so fucking with myself. Okay,
You're good. You're perfect.
got like a pointy head. Anyway,
No, you don't. You're crazy. Um,
uh,
but
what
yeah,
about
no,
you? Your week?
Mother's Day was good. I worked on Mother's Day because now that I'm back at the restaurant, that's a pretty busy day.
Aw,
But it was good. It
yeah,
was fun. I got some good tips because, being a mom serving on Mother's
Mother's
Day,
Day.
some people took care of me, which was really cool. And then
That is awesome.
um we normally have pasta Sunday every Sunday at my in-laws' house. And she was like, I'm not feeling making sauce. And I was like, well, I don't blame you because like you always have to cook and stuff. So we all went out to Mexican, and then
Nice.
yeah, so it's perfect. So I worked and then I went and was a
Had some
patron
Mexican
somewhere
food.
else. Yes, exactly. It was really fun though. It was
Nice.
a good day overall. What did you guys do for
Oh,
Mother's Day?
my nose is itchy. Somebody's thinking about me.
It's me.
Uh,
It's me.
mm, awesome. Um, no, just the usual Mother's Day stuff. Kids brought me breakfast in bed, and then we hung out, did some presents and stuff, and then oh, we did a dinner for my mother-in-law's mom
Okay.
and
She's
like
still
some of the
kicking, huh?
sisters. She is.
Wow.
She is.
Good for her.
She's doing great. She's pretty
That's
sassy.
awesome.
She puts me to shame, man.
Does
Every time I
she?
go over to her house, she's like, "Look at all this stuff that I made and created," and I'm like,
Well, she doesn't have
"I
kids like
It's
to be.
true, but still, if I was all alone by myself with no other responsibilities, she still puts me to shame.
That's not what you'd
Bad.
be
Like
doing. Yeah. No,
it's yeah, she's impressive.
that's
Very impressive.
awesome. That's awesome.
So
And that's
yeah.
funny. All right.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, so happy late Mother's Day to all of the mothers and mother-like people.
and
There's so many people who help take care of my kids. I feel like I have to be like an Oscar, like
I'd
there's
like
so
to
many
think,
people I'd like to thank. Yeah,
well, it takes a village. They say that,
it
like,
really does.
oh my God, without my mother-in-law's help, She, she's like half mom to Elena right now because
Yeah.
since she hasn't started school yet, and then I need to work to keep the girls in the charter school and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think she loves it. I hope she loves it. I think it keeps her young. No, I've actually seen
Well,
studies where like
yeah.
for older people watching their younger like grandchildren because they have to be so hyper aware that it keeps their brain like
Hmm.
firing better longer. So I'm keeping her young, really. That's what I'm doing.
Yes. Yes, that hyper awareness is super important.
Yeah,
Like,
especially with a crazy one like I've got.
do you
Crazy
remember the story?
awesome, but crazy too. Say again.
Yeah. I said, or you get the stories like I gave you yesterday, which was
Oh yes.
uh
Please share.
my my
This is
son, who's
awesome.
6 years old, got permission to text one of his little girlfriends from school. And they were just texting each other, and I looked away for a few seconds, and my daughter comes over and she said, "Hey mom, you got to see what he just sent to this girl." And it was a beautiful silhouette of two romantic people, and it said to my what was it, to my wonderful husband, or
Something. I
something
just
like
remember
that.
Victor. Victor,
Yeah, to
like
my
somebody
wonderful
had
husband,
personalized it.
thinking of you always, Victor.
I've seen those memes when I'm looking for memes. I'll find ones that have like names, and I'm
Yeah.
like that's very
All right
oddly
then.
specific. Like that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, it just pulled up whatever was
um,
there, and he's like, "Ooh, this looks romantic," because he can't read yet. Like,
yeah, that's so freaking cute. And then you'll have that funny story forever.
well,
You know
luckily
what?
the other mom was really nice about it because I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, this could go like one of two ways."
I
So
mean, but the really could it like who's gonna be upset by that? Like, is there someone who would be upset by that? You think?
I don't know if some little dude was sending my 6 year old romantic
Yeah, but as long as it's
little
a six
little
year old.
memes.
No, if that was coming
Yeah,
from an
okay.
adult to my 6 year old, sure, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. But from a kid, that's really, really funny.
Well, it shows like a lack of parental involvement. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
Kids can stumble across
yes,
some crazy stuff, and I don't
this is true.
necessarily want
This is
everything
true.
sent to my kids. That was pretty harmless, but
Yeah,
like,
I think that was pretty harmless. Um, but
like
I
I got to
think
step up my
everything
game.
is like a teaching opportunity. If you don't let them have some freedom to get into things, where are you going to teach them? Where are you going to,
Yeah,
you know, I'm kind of
yeah,
about exposing my kids to things so that they aren't ignorant when like stuff comes up. They have something,
yeah.
I don't know.
There's a balance, really. It's
Yes, for
like
sure. And this can like really segue us into our our
our
topic that I
topic
want to
of the
talk about
day.
today because with
Okay.
especially regarding us and how we interact with and manage our kids and stuff like that. So I sent you a TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
which you've watched. Yeah.
Yes, the sound for
Okay.
some reason didn't work, but it had the words written, so I did good.
Okay. All right. But you got the gist or whatever. So I'll,
Indeed, I did.
show everybody else here.
But it's like we have freedom here. We do. And people like me, I'm sorry, but we're a sign of that. That I'm like, I've deconstructed, I've deprogrammed out of the propaganda that the United States has given us. They give us freedom, but we're so brainwashed into upholding the aristocracy, the billionaires, the status quo, that it doesn't even matter if we have freedom. Like, we can have as much freedom in the world, but because that we're fed so much propaganda that is against our own interests, we don't need coercion. We don't need camps. We don't need to be made an example of in the middle of the street with a weapon. We don't have to. We're already upholding the power voluntarily.
This is not like that video was how my brain works. Like you might have heard
Hmm.
one thing, but like I definitely took it a direction. And there was more to that
Yeah.
video too. Like I took just a little excerpt of it because like it's what really got my brain turning. It was but basically just what I took out of it was just that we are as a society are so brainwashed that we literally uphold the systems that like are harming us, you know?
Hmm.
And this, like, did you have any first thoughts, I guess, from you watching it? Like, what did you think?
Um, I don't know if I want to go off on tangents quite yet, but I drew a lot of parallels between like how we grew up religiously and like A lot of the times, what you're told, what you grow up with, is what you uphold
Oh yeah.
until you can really start thinking about like, okay, what is it that I actually believe? What is it
Yeah.
that I actually
Why
want to
am
do?
I doing these things?
Mhm.
That
And
perfectly ties in with where my head was going.
yeah, well, I see it a lot here too. I consider myself a very patriotic person. Like I love America for,
Yeah.
in
It
theory,
has
in
amazing
history, and
things. Yeah. And I think its intention was noble. You know what I mean? But people will
yeah,
use
but
it
to jump
however
on the
they wish.
Merca
I don't know. Yeah.
bandwagon and be
Is
like,
a different thing. Yeah, for sure.
mhm, there can't be any changes because this is America. There can't be any like
Exactly.
differing opinions because this is America.
Yeah. Like we progressed as much as we needed to that point, and now we're
Right?
good.
We're done. We're good. Yeah. Nothing should ever change.
Yeah.
Seems a little ridiculous. But yeah. What sticks out to you?
Well,
Let's let's go where you're going.
well, the reason why it stood out to me is because I'd already been thinking a lot about a particular situation that I've been watching unfold with one of my kids and like their friends. Um, there's this girl who likes another girl, and they were kind of coupled, like we want to be each other's girlfriends, which at this age means like they're stating that they like each other. They see each other at
Like
school and
holding
sometimes they
hands
hold
is
hands.
maybe
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it is. But a parent of one of the girls um found out that they were, and it just set off a whole like shitstorm of things because she is a hyper religious, very Christian woman who is probably thinking, I must save my child, from like the devil that is taken over her, and has, found out, made her break up with her, but also made her kind of like separate, like detach from the friend group a little bit. Like there was like she was forced to distance herself from the friend group. Um and like removed from activities that she had earned. She was,
Oh.
working towards and part of things. So she was took out of extracurricular things that she, and like even a thing in a play, like a part that she had earned, that it was taken from her because of this.
And excited about
And very excited about. And then it was threatened that if, she were to get back together, she's going to be pulled out of the school. So she also has the risk of having to change schools. And then like it for
and
their most
probably
recent field trip, it messed with like the way that they were able to group, because of her hate, like it's broken up a group in a way that like it's just like drama for children that's so unnecessary. And it's so based on this woman holding on to ideals that are making her like hate her child. Like that's what her child is feeling. Hate for who
well,
she
I was
is,
going to
for what
say
she is.
worse than anything is probably just feeling like, you're wrong. Like
Yeah, the way you feel, the way you
fundamentally
think.
fundamentally wrong in your parents' eyes.
Mm-hmm.
This thing that made you excited and happy,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're not
It's
allowed.
it's wrong. There's something fundamentally wrong with you, because
And so wrong and
you
scary
are
that it's
filling this thing that is bad. I've told you it's bad. The Bible's told me it's bad. I don't know if the Bible even says that, honestly. That's up for debate.
but
But
according to a lot of religions,
yeah,
that's what
that's
it
the
says.
commonly held belief. But just like watching this happen has made me start thinking about things a little differently, because I've been kind of
Yeah.
up in arms about like a lot of the social things that are going on right now, the social movements, and wanting to get involved, thinking like, how can I help and stuff like that, because I see this all happening, and how are we actually going to make any type of change? And I'm like, oh God, like the call's coming from inside the house. Like there's like trying to get everyone on a societal level to accept, obviously, is very important, because you can't legislate against people just being able to live their life. Like we have to put a stop to that and say, hey, whoa, you guys, like, I know you feel a certain way about your God, but here's reality. And like everybody has or should have the right to choose how they live, what they believe, you know. But brain fart right here to where I kind of forgot where I was going with that. I know I had an endpoint and I'll get there, but
No, you're good.
what do you think
I
about
I totally
what
get it.
I'm saying? Yeah, like, is this making sense, or is this
Yeah.
something you've thought about, like, real? Oh, I get back to it now. That
Okay,
was
go,
all
go.
just to say the calls coming from inside the house. That, like,
Yeah.
how can we, like, stop this at a home level? Because, like, you literally can't, because that's like the basis of everything, that parents should have the right to, like, parent their children how they wish,
Mhm.
right? So you can't take that away. But then her parent is upholding a really hateful, hurtful rhetoric, and, like, she truly believes it, and she truly believes she's doing good, but all I'm seeing is how much she's hurting
Damage.
her, yeah, damaging her child. And I want to befriend this lady, just so she can maybe get to know me and see that there can be people who don't believe, but still have, have very high morals. Very, I don't plan to kill anyone, like,
Really?
not planning too many sins, like it's almost like not being Christian doesn't make you all of a sudden not have morals or something. But I want
But that's
to,
so hard to see when you're right in the thick of it. It's such an us versus them mentality, even between other religions, like
yeah,
um, thinking that you have the truth, so to speak, that other people don't have. And if you see them thinking differently than you think, oh, if only they had the knowledge that I have.
yeah. So they're
It,
always coming from a place of saving them or helping them. But
mhm.
like, if you are outside of the situation, like, it's literally just like hating. You're just hating someone. You're hating what someone is, how someone is. And it's like, it doesn't hurt anybody. I'd almost say I would much rather my girls have girl relationships at this age, because it feels safer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Less likely to have an unplanned pregnancy or a forced sexual encounter. Just less likely. So I'm like, if you're
Yeah.
thinking about it logically as a mom and wanting the best for your child, I mean, I just don't see anything
But
wrong with it. But she
but
thinks,
anything that's unfamiliar territory can feel scary.
I
And
know,
it's
I
a lot
know,
easier for parents to shut down what's scary than to try to understand it.
I know. And sometimes I know I even have to, you know, like, shut down
Check
my own
check
things where I'm
myself.
exactly where,
Mhm.
like, I think I'm being so open and stuff, but I'll be talking to the girls and they're like, that's stupid or that's wrong. And I have to sit back and be like, oh yeah, I'm spouting
Mm.
something. I'm like automatically going down one of those highways in my head that's already been, like, formed. So it's easy to get to that thought process. And,
Hmm.
like, yeah, so it's like a constant battle of unlearning, unthinking, you know,
Yeah.
but God, now that I'm out of it, like, I know I didn't come up with this quote, but I say it all the time. Like, there is no hate like Christian love, because they
A
they
lot of the time,
genuinely
yeah.
they genuinely are feel like they're coming from a place of love. Like, nobody's the bad guy. Nobody thinks they're the bad guy in their story. They're always, but in the long run, like, I only have the information I've heard from, like, the friend groups and stuff like that. But,
Yeah.
like it's such an awful position for this girl to be in, because, like, I believe right now she feels like she hates her mom. But also, you can't not love your mom. You can't not need your mom in a way. Like, we want to have that person to be able to go to and feel safe, and she doesn't have that, but still wants to please her mom because, it's your mom. But at the same time, like, knows how she feels and what she is, and hates her mom for hating her for it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm
Hmm.
gathering from it. And I'm just like, I
There's a
feel so bad for
disconnect
this
now.
lady, because I'm like, you are loving God at the expense of hating your daughter. Does that feel good? Does
That's a
that
big
feel
one.
right? Does that feel like what even a loving God or Heavenly Father would want you to do? Like, it's just such nonsense to me. And
Yeah.
it's infuriating.
Yeah, my
Um,
husband always says people matter more than the religion. Like, focus on the people. The people are important. Even in the Bible, that's what Jesus did.
yeah.
He went to all the people that everyone else is like, ugh, why are you associating with them?
Yes.
Um,
Like,
That's literally the teaching. He
Like
did not
the teaching of
force anyone to
Jesus,
believe as he believed.
I can get behind, but that's not what is the like mainstream Christian thing right now. Although I can
No.
tell you that the people in my life that are hyper Christian are some of the most amazing people, and they really do live by and abide those things. But when it comes time to vote, they're okay being a little hateful, despite being really, really good people. They
Have
will
you
allow that to let them make these decisions that are really not in the best interest of even them. But it's like, but at least it'll get those guys that are wrong, that are bad, that scare me because they're different.
yeah. Have you ever associated, have you ever had like the one old relative or just some old person that you know that's just like a really good person but super racist? Or like
I
just
mean,
says things or makes jokes or makes like sexist jokes or
yeah,
like
I heard
they
them
just have
all
kind of
growing
a
up. Yeah, from an
um
assortment of people who were very, very good,
mhm.
but it was very
Yeah,
acceptable. It was just so acceptable
it was
that even the
acceptable
best
back
people made
then.
the worst, most derogatory, like fucking awful, just
Hmm.
jokes.
And it seems like it gets to a point where while I believe that anybody is capable of change, there's some people that are just not going to, right?
Yeah, because you
There,
have to want
you could,
to, you
yeah, you could have
personally.
all of the evidence in the world and all of the studies in the world, and they
Mhm.
could know all of the gay people or all of the black people or
They refuse to look at it.
and they refuse.
Yeah.
So um instead of beating your head against a wall, you gotta look to the next generation. Be like, hey, these guys are gonna do us one better.
I hope
Like
so.
we'll fix what we can,
Yeah.
and the next
Yeah.
generation will be a little more tolerant, I
Yeah. But
think,
also
because
keep a fire lit beneath people, because we've
oh,
had like
absolutely, don't
revolutions
accept
before,
it.
but then like generations after that got
Hmm.
complacent because, everything's good for them. Everything's kind of working. But they get complacent, and in the background, things are changing and going on that like we need to be aware of.
Hmm.
Like we can't
Absolutely,
just imagine
don't be
imagine
blind,
that, yeah, don't be blind, I guess that's a good way to say it.
purposefully
Um
blind. That I
so
will just say that I loved what you said about starting in the home. Like I can't change a lot on a global scale. I can't do a whole lot on a global scale. My influence there is slim to none. But I can have discussions with my kids and I can listen when they have concerns and I can tell them what my concerns are. Like I would say I've have conversations with my kids pretty regularly. And there's a lot of times when they say, um, I think you might want to look at it from this way. Like they're really, really good like that. They're very
yeah.
patient with me. They're like, well, have you thought about how it makes the other person feel? Or anyway, and sometimes they're right, sometimes I'm right, and all the time it's just a good
Good
conversation.
conversation for
And
sure.
yeah, and we influence each other. It starts at home. Like
Mm-hmm.
what do we as a family believe? What do we want people around us to feel
Yeah.
like?
And
Do
that's
we
good. That's good. We have to be some of the good, because I'm seeing so much bad in the world that like I'm starting to get pretty pessimistic. Like I see so much going on
easy to
just in the
see?
small little world, but then also on a grand scale. Like
Hmm.
it's seriously is just disheartening. And I'm like, are people just bad? You want to think everybody's good, but like, but all you can do is be the good, so that somebody else is
It's
having the good, and hopefully that's encouraging them to like, the whole pay it forward thing, be the good,
yeah,
because it's and so I totally agree with that, and I think it starts at home. But the thing I was asking was, how can we get into the other homes and without taking away any of their parental rights, say wake up and learn, like listen to what they're saying. Like they're little humans that like have their own thoughts, and literally like they're still so controlled and told what to do. Like they don't get the freedoms of being an adult, because obviously they're not an adult. They need someone to help them and stuff like that, but not to be
hmm
completely crushed and not allowed to like think things through. I see so many kids, just because my girls have a lot of friends who identify as LGBTQ, and they So they have a lot of access to these people and talking to them, and they definitely, it seems as a whole, don't feel like they can be themselves. So many of them in their home life that it's just it's killing me. Like I'm like, I need to be able to like somehow get these parents to like stop being the ones upholding the hate that like generations have taught. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I guess
Yeah, and
sorry.
having a member of my family in the LGBTQ community, even, and living in a um, highly Mormon community,
Mm-hmm.
even I have a hard time speaking up. Like a lot of the times, people will say something, and I'll just kind of, be quiet and sit back and be like, okay, I'll just wait till this conversation's over because I don't even want to touch this with a 100-foot pole. And sometimes I will jump in and be like, hey,
I almost
um,
can't. Like I want
my
so bad to do it.
yeah, my daughter went to a birthday party just recently and they handed out these little rainbow soaps and they're like, we didn't want everybody to think that we were handing out like gay pride stuff. And I was like, oh, well, I would just
Why would that
think you
matter?
I was like, I would just think you guys are being really accepting. That's all
Yes.
good. Um, but yeah, in this community, you do have to be, well, you don't have to. There is just it hangs in the air. And I've even had dreams about going back to church and being like, hey, listen, I just gotta tell you guys, like, when you talk about gay people in the way that you do, you have to realize that there are probably several people who are dealing with that right now, or who have family members that they love dearly who don't have a problem with that. And you're
Yeah.
driving people away and you're putting this wedge in there and this like cringy, uncomfortable feeling. And you gotta
Yeah.
knock that off.
And you're making them deal with it instead of just being able to be who they are. Like
Hmm.
if you look back, I haven't done the research myself, so I can't say this is factual, but this is the thing I've heard on repeat from a lot of different sources about a lot of different like societies before us now who have recognized a lot of different genders that we don't recognize now. Like everything is made up. Dudes used to wear the wigs. Dudes used to wear the hills. Like, why are you so why does that have to be a woman? Because that's what your perception is of a woman. Like people, there's so many fucking different types of people and ways of thinking, and we've been fed what it is to be a human and to be a girl and to be a boy and all this shit. And like they
The
need
box is
to,
getting smaller.
yeah, it's just like, like I wish I could go into church or even to my old self and say, you know how they keep telling you to only use church like stuff to do your research, like because the people who are coming to like say, hey, check this out, Joseph lied or whatever, they're like, oh, they just want to bring us down. Why the fuck would they just want to do that? And I can understand like the other religions coming at you because you're just the other side of the same coin, but just like a person saying, hey, like this is something about your history that you might find informative if you were,
That's not how you see it when you're in it, though, because when you're
I
in it,
know that, but that's
you're like,
so
God,
dumb. It's so stupid. I can say that I was stupid. I was dumb. Like, I wish someone would have helped me, but how could they have?
they can't.
Yeah.
And the way I saw it was, this God and religion thing is so important over here that, of course, the devil over here would try to get you to, they try
Yeah.
to pull you away. So this is just, the influence of
Yeah.
the devil.
They can
Anything that is against this
they can put so many
must
things
be
into that
this.
category of just the devil.
Hmm.
And that's what's so freeing about not believing in a God. You don't believe in a devil either. What a stupid, both of them to me are very stupid concepts. Like, to what end?
Interesting.
What does any of it serve? Like, sometimes I'm like, if I were a God, what would I do? But like if he, I don't know,
Would I
like
want people to sit around and worship me? Probably not.
yeah, and then be like, and if you don't do it right according to certain faiths, then you're gonna burn in hell, and they're gonna be happy to tell you about that. They're gonna be happy with
Yeah.
the idea of another human burning in hell because you think different than me, or you are different than me, or Anyways,
There's
I
gonna
know.
be there's gonna be thousands of different religions. I'm only gonna pick one small one somewhere in there and then you're gonna have to figure that out for yourselves. I'm not gonna give you any real context clues. I'm just
Yes. And you just gotta
pick it
figure it
random.
out. And if you don't get it right, sorry
Yeah.
about you.
Dang.
I know.
But since I know all, I knew it anyway. I knew you weren't gonna make it. So like,
Yeah, and God makes no
uh,
mistakes. So even though I'm telling you, love the sin, not the sinner, but you're God's mistake. Because what you feel is inherently
you're
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong. No, the free will God gave
It's
you,
good to have
it's
a loving
okay as
God.
that free will is okay as long as you don't do anything I tell you not to.
Yeah.
Use
Mm.
your free will,
Yeah.
but don't.
Yeah. And a lot of
No,
times,
I don't know.
sorry, I was going to say,
Keep going.
a lot of times, like when we get into these type of debates of being accepting, that's when they start bringing in the other like arguments of like that, trying to make that other group, like let's say trans people, like dangerous or something, like wanting to say that like trans women really are just trying to get into bathrooms with little girls, when it's like, let's go look at the statistics. Why don't you go look up yourself? Anybody who's watching this, right? This, just go look up the statistics of like people who have maybe gone to jail or been, because there was a TikToker who was showing some, she's like, me and my friends just looked this up, and it was like the amount of priests that have been convicted this year, the amount of officers that have been convicted this year. And you know how many trans people there were? I think there was one. So it's like, that's not a real issue. They just need
No.
something to like continue to make them feel good about their hate. Because it's like, no, they're not actually doing that. These people are just trying to live, and they need you mad at something so you're not paying attention to like really important stuff.
Oh no, I believe that. Absolutely. But I also think that you are gonna have issues with uh anyway,
With
wherever
trans
you
people,
have with trans people, with everything, wherever you have people, you have assholes. I
for
mean,
sure.
that's it. Not just in the trans community, just everywhere. And
100%.
you can't throw the whole issue out because of the assholes. We got to still deal with the issues
So, but I
and
just told you
punish the
based on
assholes.
those things that the issue doesn't exist. There was one trans person. There were hundreds
Well,
of those. So the
oh
issue
yeah.
is that they think cis white men are going to use that fact to then go in, because trans women, they have no reason to think that they, who truly identify as women and like aren't interested in, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they aren't actually a thing. It's a white man using that freedom wrong. Like, oh, now men are just going to dress up like women and go get little girls. You have a problem with trans people. You have a problem with fucking rapist white dudes. Not white. It could be any color. I'm sorry. But I'm so like, do you get that? Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh
Like,
no, I get it.
there's not actually a problem with trans people going after kids. That's made
Yeah.
up.
If we're gonna worry about people going after kids, let's go after the ones that are already proven to
Yes.
be.
So them saying it's a bathroom thing and all the trans people want, I believe, and I don't speak for them, is to exist and to have a place to exist. So if you want it to be their own special bathroom, even just give them something instead of telling them, like, basically, whatever you're born with, you got to go to that bathroom. I've already seen TikToks. I love fucking TikTok. I gotta tell you, love it so much because it gives me access to people I wouldn't get to see otherwise. But there's
Yeah,
this
that is
girl
cool.
who has PCOS who was confronted outside of the woman's bathroom by this large man. And it was so scary that she went back in the bathroom and called her husband. He had to come. She has PCOS. She grows a full fucking beard. It gets really exhausting to trim it and stuff like that. So she hadn't really upkept it. So she had a little facial hair. And this guy was ready to fucking beat her up because you're in the wrong bathroom. Like,
Mm,
that's a woman with a condition. Like, you
it
guys have
happens.
created a social war where this guy thinks he's defending kids, and really he's such a fucking asshole for going, like, this woman all like did nothing. Like, it's creating so many problems, and it's all just fake bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna get off my high horse, but that just, I don't know, it's just infuriating to me because I
Well,
used to be on the other side of it, and I feel like as much as people are trying to like get people to come to their God, I feel that same call to get rid of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you will never be able to mandate beliefs.
No.
Like it's never worked in any society. You can't tell people what to believe.
And I
It's
don't think you should, but I don't think they should get
but
to affect legislation.
Yeah.
because of their
Well,
beliefs. And that's what's
people are
happening.
going to vote how they believe. I mean, it
I know,
just
but they don't actually think. They just go with beliefs, and it's scary. Like, especially for us as women, watching like the country take steps backwards in progress, and all the little like things that keep popping up in different states, and like lawsuits that I keep hearing about, and I couldn't possibly follow them all to like, it's just different shit happening all over the place, and it's terrifying. And I don't want that for my kids.
No. I see it in my community. I have a friend who's very, very religious, and it affects everything that they do. And the decisions that she makes because of her religious beliefs, it kills her family. Like, she'll choose men over her kids because she feels like that's what God is telling her to do. And really, it's like, no, that's
you seeking a validation that you think you need because society has told you you're only valuable if you have one of those.
Yeah. So it's hard to see people make important decisions based solely off of feelings.
Yeah.
And I do need to stress though that just because I don't believe in religion the same way as I used to, I still believe in spirituality and in um, just there's a force rooting for us on the other side. You know what I mean? I've had a lot of experiences that I can't explain any other way where I'm just like, you know what? That's
fine. I mean, I think everybody should be able to have their church and their religion even. I think they just need to like see it as a personal thing and not a call to give it to everybody else. But that's hard when the message is
that's what you've been
that
taught.
You're going to save their soul. And that's why it's dangerous. But, and I would never mandate it away. I would just hope to reach some souls and be like, hey, are you really that hateful? Can you like think about this for a second?
It's hard to see where the common ground could be, between.
Yeah. So I had a couple other things that like, I kind of like it wasn't just the religion thing that I think that we've been, we're holding ourselves back because we're upholding. A couple other ones. One of them, like another thing that we uphold at home, is definitely some harmful aspects of like the patriarchy. And I know that's like a hard one, I guess, for people, because they feel like if you're saying the patriarchy, like you're saying men. It's not. It's a system. It's just the way things have been working, and it's not working for everyone. And we just want to think about things. That's it. I have another TikTok to share though. So
okay.
I kind of wanted to be able to get your reaction right after.
Blind reaction.
I didn't share them. So
every single day I think about that Bonnie Burstow quote where she says, often father and daughter look down on mother woman together. They exchange meaningful glances when she misses a point. They agree that she is not as bright as they are, cannot reason as they do. This collusion does not save the daughter from the mother's fate. And I feel horribly because I was so complicit in that for so long. And look, I know I was young, sure, okay, it's not my fault when someone that you look up to does that and you follow their lead, but it is my fault and I shouldn't have done it, and it was cruel and she didn't deserve that and deserved so much better than being the butt of every joke all the time, to constantly have her intelligence and her personhood diminished like that. It hurt her like hell. I know it did because she would tell me about it and I would keep doing it, and I hate myself for that every day. I really do.
Okay, what are your first thoughts?
It was good.
It was good. It was a good one.
Oh, it's good. It's good. That's all. Moving on. No, no, it made me think of people in my life that that connected with that.
Yeah,
that hit pretty hard on a few.
Like I definitely, I remember a guy I dated for a time who, when I went and was close to his family visiting, like it definitely stood out to me the way that him and his family like joked at their mom's expense in front of her and behind her back. Like it felt clear that she was like less than or dumber than. And like I thought at the time like that like he would be an awful husband, because I knew that would be me. I'm glad that I had that thought because I also know that I definitely I'm sure I'm guilty with my own mom laughing at her expense, but sometimes we just tease. There's a level of teasing, but then there's a level that I have seen where it is kind of like, um, there's another one that was talking about just how women like lose value after like a certain age, and how like young women kind of like um do that to older women, not realizing eventually you're going to be older too. Like
That's you.
we're upholding like you have more value if you're younger, so like you're better then.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that too. And just I know that I've been the one to make fun of the way girls are, which is just upholding stereotypes that I'm like, I'm not that way. So why am I making jokes like all girls are this way? Why am I doing this?
It's all
Like,
about education. It's all about
yeah.
learning. It's all about
Uh-huh.
experience.
Yeah, that one just really made me
And
think more than anything, because I was like, oh, that's one that we definitely like, recognizing it is the key to unlearning it, right? And
mm-hmm.
being like, oh, hey, like like we're all the like gonna be on the same path. So if like older women and younger women need to be a little more on the same page
On
too.
this, yep, on the same team.
Yeah, on the same team,
Well,
supporting each
and
other.
gender aside, when you're told you're stupid over and over and over, you become kind of stupid. You believe it. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a
Yeah,
piece of you, even if you tell yourself, I'm not. It's still it
it eats
seeps
away
into
at
your
you.
very core.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
I was told certain things about myself that totally changed who I was for a long time, because I tried to like mask those things to like be less annoying, be like,
Hmm.
just be more acceptable for everyone, And it's like
Yeah.
just and it's a very hurtful feeling, and just nobody we
Mhm.
shouldn't be just okay with making people feel that way, to like continue. And it basically what it does is serve to like continue this hierarchy of like, just what's the word, shooting down, or always having to
Like
make fun of the person under you to keep you at the top. I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
So
I see that.
yeah, that's another learned one. Another learned one that I had a story that I was thinking about was like racism being learned in the home. And I know that,
Mhm.
like we talked about earlier, people saying like things just so nonchalant as though it wasn't a horrible thing. And you're like, you're a good person. How are you saying this thing? You know, like,
Mhm.
so I think we all learned aspects of it. But I had this instance with a dishwasher at work who was missing an arm from an accident from like 2 years previously, and he was doing
Uh-huh.
the dishes with an arm and a nub. And I was just like, have you ever thought about getting a prosthetic? Like that could be cool or whatever. And I don't know, just kind of making conversation. He was
Could be
like, oh,
helpful. Yeah.
he was like, oh, I have one. And I was like, oh, why don't you wear it? And he was just like, it's kind of dark skinned. And I was like, so you are like literally not functioning as well. Because I was like, does it fit okay? He's like, yeah, it fits fine. And he literally just wasn't wearing it because like it was
You
too
didn't
dark
like the
skinned.
skin tone.
Yeah. So he's like, I don't want to be called like a Mexican. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. And I was just like, that's really stupid. You hear how stupid that is, right? Like, do you hear that you're
Someone
being
does that, you
racist?
take off the arm and you beat him with it.
Exactly. And then he like was going on to make more excuses. And he was like, well, you gotta understand, like I come from the KKK. My family still teaches white is right. And this was like last year. This is very, very much still a problem, and still a way that people think and are learning in their homes. And what's really cool though is he eventually wore his arm. And
Really?
that's despite the fact that, yeah, he came from a family who obviously mocked him relentlessly for, having this colored arm
For
and
his
stuff. And I was
prosthetic
like,
arm?
I know, but I was like, it's your job to not do that. You see, it's wrong, right? So,
You're very good at
um,
speaking up. I like that.
sometimes, yeah, I don't think everybody likes it. I know, because
No, that's
sometimes,
good though.
yeah, but it's also just my opinion, which is worth what you paid for it. And I know some people wish
But
I
at
would
least
keep
you're
it to
not scared
myself.
to say it.
Yeah, no, I was more just like, it's almost like the autism in me, it just didn't help it. Uh, anyways,
Yeah, well, I gotcha.
yeah, I don't know. It's like there's a lot of stuff that's taught at home, and we can't undo it in anybody else's home, but we can do our best at home. And then
A good example goes a long, long way.
yeah.
Like that part of what I was taught growing up is definitely real. If you are doing something right, like if you're living a life that you want to live and it makes you happy, and the way you treat people is better and the way you feel is better, other people will notice. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like uh, when unlearning things that we learned growing up, a lot of
Mhm.
the times we don't even realize that what we're doing is wrong. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, nobody is
So
a villain in their own story.
nobody's a villain in their own story, and all we have are the experiences that we've learned from. And sometimes it takes somebody else stepping out of that to be like, oh, I never even thought of it like that. Like, wow, like I have been a jerk and I don't even realize I've been being a jerk. And,
Yeah.
thank you
But
for
it's
your example.
when you can actually see that and do it, like that's something people have to do for themselves type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
Everybody's on their
anyways,
own journey and you can't change how anybody else thinks, which sucks sometimes. And
it
it sucks,
does.
especially when you see it affecting children. That's really hard.
Yeah.
So,
It, anyways. I have
it's,
one more TikTok that I wanted to show just because it kind of I felt like it's from this TikToker that I follow quite a bit of her thing. She's pretty awesome, but she kind of wraps it up though pretty well, just kind of like talking about a lot of the stuff that is happening right now in the world, but to give us hope, like
yeah.
what it is that we need to do and that we are doing. And
Well,
I thought it was pretty good. Just gotta find it
yeah.
again. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say something you said earlier about believing there are good people in the world.
Yeah,
Um,
starting to feel less and less like that most people are good. Like I've always said,
yeah.
most people are good.
However, I have always thought if I can be a good person, then it's easier for me to believe that there are other good people out in the world. If I'm behaving in a way that I shouldn't, it becomes harder to see. Like I start believing everybody else is a piece of crap because if I can't even manage my own life, how can I expect anybody else to manage theirs?
Yeah,
But if I'm actively trying to be a good person, it's easy to see it everywhere else too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe even the calls coming from inside the house is your own person, not just in your home, but in yourself. Like,
yeah, yeah,
be a good person, damn it.
yeah. And I think most people believe that they are. So it's hard to
It's
say,
true.
hey, like looking from the outside, like you're really not looking so good. When I don't think they would care.
That's true.
It sucks, but what can I do?
That is true. Nobody believes they're a bad person.
Yeah, yeah.
In 3 minutes or less, I'm going to tell you everything wrong with the society that we live in a way that will actually leave you feeling more hopeful. You have my word. All right, a bunch of long dead cishet white men organized this society in a way that they could siphon the most amount of power and wealth from the people, the likes of which have never been seen in human history. We are all just living under their legacy. Some people, other cishet white men, benefit from this legacy more than other people. What they did was build a society on the 3 pillars of capitalism, patriarchy, and white supremacy, whereby they extracted every single thing that was positive about human existence so that they could sell it back to us. They took our community, our leisure time, our creative time. They even took from us any opportunity we might have had for real, enduring love by reducing all romantic relationships to the economic institution that is the nuclear family. They took our access to nature so that they could sell it back to us. They took hundreds of thousands of years of ancient healing modalities so that they could then sell us back healthcare that doesn't keep us healthy. You see where I'm going, right? They ripped almost everything that makes this life worth living so that they could monetize it and send it back to us. But because life is so expensive, we don't have any of these things in the amounts that we need to thrive. They give us just enough
so that we have something to lose, so that we have some fear that if we revolt, we might even lose the little bit we do have. And when most people living within the system find it absolutely miserable, we pathologize that and we say, oh, you just have depression, you just have anxiety. It's a you problem. And this is so convenient for them because it allows us to not question the system, but our ability to work within the system. And on a secondary basis, it also allows them to monetize yet another thing to sell back to you. And then they take you and they plug you into this hierarchical system where some humans are worth more than others, a system that you can never reach the top of, a system built to ensure that you never ever feel quite good enough. You're never going to be quite productive enough, quite rich enough, quite beautiful enough. And that lack of enoughness is the engine that they count on to keep you participating in this system. All right, but I promised you good news, so here it is. We're all waking up. Every single point that I have made in this video is being discussed by dozens upon dozens of creators on here. None of these are original thoughts. It won't be long before this is the preeminent conversation amongst people in this country and worldwide, but the US is especially terrible in all of these areas. But I have known about most of these things for most of my adult life, mostly because I have an insatiable curiosity about why we are the way we are, and I've spent decades trying to figure it out. But for the first time in my life, I'm not having this conversation alone with myself. I am now involved in this conversation with hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of people. We were never going to change this system until we saw it for what it really is, from every angle. And we're all seeing it now, aren't we?
I just like that because like the solution is what we're doing, talking, putting it out there and hoping that maybe somebody who thinks a little different hears a perspective that, you know, makes them be a little less hateful, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And another thing, just a point, because, you know, I use social media a lot and I love TikTok, especially. Like there's so many like stupid attacks on like social media right now and stuff like that, lawsuits and stuff like that, because, you know, right now they're saying, okay, no, that's the problem. That's what's declining all these kids' mental health and stuff like that, because they always have to blame something. And it would, I guess, be too hard to think that it's like a rampant inacceptance of like who people are that's causing them to be mentally ill. You know, versus social media where we're all getting to talk and really think about things and get different perspectives. Like, I don't know.
I love different perspectives, including the ones that I don't agree with. Like my initial reaction,
so it's good. Yeah,
my initial reaction to people I don't disagree with is immediately like to jump on the defense, be like, oh yeah, well, what did you? And then I got to slow down a little bit and be like, okay, what are they actually trying to say? What are they actually having trouble with? And is their point valid? Like,
yeah, and it's great that you do
how
that.
Can it?
Yeah, we all got to do that.
Yeah, without dissenting voices, we all just become clones of each other and like just toe the little line. And
I could never be a clone. I've always been a little too different.
I don't know. The world could use a few more Rachels.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I've never.
I'm just kidding.
I've never quite fit the mold.
Well, I think it's something that we've all been afraid of. Like, have you ever read the book The Giver?
No, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's basically a society where everybody is given equal everything. They're pretty much clones of each other. They're expected to think exactly alike.
Yeah.
And there's just one person who is endowed with all of the memories of the past. Like nobody else is allowed to remember them, only this one person. And just how it changed. Anyway, it's pretty interesting to see how a society would function. Like you're not even given your own birth parents. Like when children are born, they're given to
the society or something.
Yeah, there's a made up nuclear family of people who have no emotional connection to each other. So it's just
I'll check it out. The Giver.
You should. The Giver.
All right.
Because that's what it reminds me of a lot. And we need diversity. We need everybody's voices.
Yeah, so we can figure out what's going to work for all of us instead of just saying, hey, this is the way it's gonna go, regardless of who it's actually hurting or benefiting.
Well, and the
All
hard
right.
thing is what works for one person doesn't work for another. So maybe the goal isn't to find what works for everybody. It's just, hey, what works for me personally? And
Yeah, for sure.
well, anyway, I don't know. I don't know. You brought up a lot of good points. A lot to think about.
Yes, yes.
So
Well, I gotta go to Haley's awards now. But yay, I'm glad
awesome.
we snuck this in today. Plus, I obviously needed to get some stuff off my chest. So thanks.
This is a good place to put it.
All
Well
right.
done.
Well, I love you, and I Lilas.
Lilas,
Okay.
give
Mwah.
your family my best.
I will. You too.
Okay.
Subscribe up there.
Subscribe.
There's a subscribe up there.
Okay.
Like the button.
Okay.